The dictionary definition of numb described deprived of feeling, cold and beaten. So feeling of nothingness, not feeling anything, being present, feeling cold, a sense of a chill, and feeling beaten somehow. Now, the definition didn't elaborate on beaten, so that beaten could mean, in this context, it could mean feeling so beaten and black and blue from physically feeling beaten that you can't feel anything. Or it could be that your emotions have been so beaten that you can't feel anything. I think both are legitimate and understandable descriptions of feeling numb. So disassociate is described as feeling separate, to sever and disconnect. So when we talk about being disassociated in terms of emotions, this is to feel separate from yourself, to feel separate from your emotions, to have a disconnect. So you can't name the emotions, you can't really feel anything, and if you can feel it, it's muted somehow, it's not fully accessible. And in that sense, it's similar to feeling numb, because while numb is feeling nothingness, disassociate is feeling separate from everything. Which leads us on to depersonalized, which describes to feel detached from self and the surroundings. So to be an observer without emotion. And that can be of your existence, really. It can feel separate to yourself, to feel that you can see that you are real, but not really feeling anything that makes you feel present in the situation, that feels like you have a connection with yourself and who you are as an individual. And in that way, it can be very similar to numbness. Derealization is one step further than this, and you can probably already hear how similar they all are. Derealization is a sense of unreality, that nothing is real, a sense of feeling flat, dullness. So there's a sense of numbness, there's a sense of disassociation and depersonalization, except it feels like nothing is real. So when you look at your hand, when you are depersonalized, you know that that's your hand, but it feels separate somehow, but in a way that you can't fully explain. Whereas derealization is like nothing feels real. It's like I don't exist. It's like one very, very fine hair fracture away from psychosis. It is very, very, we're walking a fine line there. It's like such a state of survival and overwhelm that your nervous system is almost unraveling as a way to try and keep itself safe and stop from feeling anything that is traumatic. And apparently, disassociation, depersonalization, and derealization are things that prey animals go into feeling when they shut down, when they believe that they're about to die. So these are very heavy emotions. And I'm sure you can hear that there's somewhat of a hierarchy between them. And not only that, but they also link into each other. There's not much difference from them. Common experiences of feeling numb. So thoughts that you might have when you are experiencing feeling numb are things like, life is meaningless. This has been too painful. Bad things keep happening and I'd rather not feel anything. I feel low of energy and enthusiasm. This is pointless and has no meaning. What's the point in trying? Your thoughts may have a lack of clarity or a lack of ability of thinking clearly and logically. There might be a difficulty in problem solving or a difficulty in organising your thoughts. Equally, your thoughts may revolve around the topic that led to feeling numb in the first place. But in a difference to with sadness and depression, where it's very revolving around those feelings, this might be a sense of inability to pinpoint those feelings and therefore lead to the feelings of disassociation and depersonalization, feeling separate to the things that have happened in your life. Thoughts of ending your own life may be present in various ways. And similarly to feeling disassociated, depersonalized, and derealized, is that you might feel like you're dead. You might have thoughts of, I feel dead already. I am a void. Not I feel a void within, it might be I am a void. Feelings that you might have when you experience numbness is that you might feel a void, you might feel empty, a sense of nothingness, a sense of feeling separate from yourself, reality, society, and any other emotions. You might feel somewhat floaty, dizzy, and withdrawn. You might lack motivation and or energy. And that's not a limited list, but it is common experiences. Emotional responses that you may have to numbness are feeling like you need to withdraw and stay distant, feeling sleepy and avoidant. You might experience exhaustion, disassociation, depersonalization. You might feel empty and lacking. Urges that you might have when experiencing feeling numb. You might feel you need to sleep 24/7, or you might have complete insomnia. You might be lacking in urges to be part of this experience, to be part of the experience of life. You might have a low motivation for anything that you possibly have to deal with. And this can be directly linked to behaviours that we'll move on to soon. You might have the urge with the intense need to run away and physically remove yourself from a situation. You might even feel the urge to drink, self-harm, or fight with others as a way to feel something else, or to mask this feeling of numbness. Or that might even be to lean into the numbness because it feels a reprieve from maybe the depression or the anxiety that you've been feeling. You might try to fight with others as a way to feel something. Behaviours you might be experiencing when you're feeling numb, or any of the other descriptions that we've covered. Maybe that you have a difficulty with personal care and hygiene, including eating or overeating, cleaning and showering. You might have a lack of a sense of presentation, like how you present to the world. Some people who experience this do hide it by putting all of their energy into that, and then they struggle somewhere else. So they might be feeling numb because they've put all their energy into putting effort into themselves to hide what they're actually feeling. And this often makes them feel worse when they're then alone. Behaviours might also include withdrawal from hobbies and withdrawing from connections with others. Difficulty with engaging in work tasks, and performance may drop. Behaviours that this person might engage in include self-harm, fighting, drinking, drug use, and they may have a low tolerance to hear people talking, to listen to music, or anything else of that nature. Physical sensations of numbness might include headaches, exhaustion, feeling like they're completely filled with lead in the body, with no energy, no ability to lift their arms and legs. Sense of feeling cold and having insomnia, not feeling hungry, like an absence of appetite, an absence of feeling satiated and full. They might feel hungry or not very hungry, or just not be connected to that at all. They might overeat as a way to cope with that, to try and force themselves to feel something. Food might feel like it just doesn't taste like anything or feel like anything in the mouth. It might feel dusty and intolerable. You might feel sick, feel dizzy. You might feel out of body and floaty. Sense of not being real. Feel of tingling and not really being present. Physical sensations you might have include suddenly losing your ability to speak, such as selective mutism, or suddenly feeling trapped in your own mind, where you can still have access to actions to somewhat, but you feel that speech and movement do become more limited. It's like even if you wanted to speak up and ask for help, you're trapped into your mind and you can't physically find the words. You can't make sense of it. So when feeling numb, you might also find it couples with disassociation, depersonalization, and or derealization, which we have briefly covered. All of these things can be more intense when you're feeling numb. You might not know what's happening, and you might have blank spots in your memory. You might feel zoned out, have an inability to concentrate at all, and you might have physical sensation of not feeling like you're in your body. For example, the whole, this hand is not mine. This is not real. These are very difficult experiences to have, and they do overlap considerably. And we're covering it today to help you to understand it and identify it. Hopefully you're not in that now. And if you are, I would encourage you to try and write something down or just show this video to somebody and let them know that this is how you're feeling. This is what you're identifying with right now in some form, some shapes, in some way you identify with this. So here are some reflective questions for your experience of numbness and the rest. So when watching this video and reading this information on the screen, what does this information prompt for you? What does it prompt in you in your felt sense? What aspects do you think you might have experienced or not experienced? What memories or events do you feel that these feelings might connect with? And do you think that's healed or needs some space to be processed? When do you think you experience these symptoms now? And is there anything these symptoms tell you about how you hinder your own emotional fulfillment? Or the blocks you might have that are out of your control, but that we can identify and make sense of in some way to understand your processing and experiences? Is there anything these symptoms tell you about what your self-care needs might be and what boundaries you might need to have with others and yourself? Does numbness come up regularly? And do the other emotions come up regularly? And why might that be? And lastly, what helps you to remain grounded, to feel whole and present with yourself and the world? This can be linked to grief. In what way does this affect you? And what do you think the numbness is shielding you from? Other videos that might be helpful when understanding and experiencing numbness, depersonalization, derealization and disassociation might be the soothing tools for these things. Safe memory and visualization techniques might help you to manage these symptoms and also protect yourself from these symptoms in future. You might find that the guided meditation for numbness is somewhat supportive as well. And the inner child visualization meditation may also help you to check in with yourself so that you can identify when you feel overwhelmed, when things might be leading you towards feeling numb. Because feeling numb, feeling depersonalized, disassociated, all of these things, this is territory that does, it is difficult, and it can be quite a red flag for you falling into feeling hopeless and like you might want to end your life. So it is a red flag to need to seek out support and find tools for you to cope and find a pathway to soothe yourself and become more present in reality. This video isn't an extensive information resource on this emotion and these experiences, nor is any of the other emotion videos. However, it does aim to support you to understand, identify, and maybe begin to make some sense of these emotions, and then hopefully help you to find tools of coping and access support a little bit more clearly. I hope it was helpful, and thanks for watching.